Hello, what's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for joining me today, this morning, here on Narcissism 101 Cracking the Code with me, Paul Wisdom. Okay, so before I get into what we're going to talk about today, as usual, if you want a one-on-one session, please email me at paul.wisdom_03@hotmail.com, or you can send a text message to 647-406-3057. If you want to talk, if you want to vent, if you need some help, some more help on your situation, if you're trying to figure out whether the person you're dealing with is in fact a narcissist, I'd be more than happy to give you some advice. I'd be more than happy to give you some help. And yeah, please feel free to reach out. If you want to call, just send a text to that number first, and just let me know that your name, and that you want to, and that you need help with your situation, and that you need some guidance, and I'd be more than happy to give you the help that you need. Okay, so what we are going to talk about today is the realization slash. Do you know this person? I bet you do. That's what we're going to talk about today. So, without further ado, let's get into it. This person is like this, and I bet you know this person that I'm about to illustrate. You tell them about yourself. You tell them that these are your hopes, these are your dreams, this is what you want to do in life. You want to get some sort of certification, that you want to, live in this country, that you want to go on this vacation, that you want to work in this type of field, you want to start your own business, you want to have a family, you want to get married, you want to have kids, you want to, and you're just telling them all this, and then they're looking at you in a sort of way, not in a loving way, but they're looking at you, studying you. And what they're doing is they're trying to get all this information to use against you at a later date. You tell them, and you tell them that this is important to you. And then sometime later, they say something to the effect of, I don't remember you saying that. And then you're just like, yeah, we just talked about that a month ago or a week ago. And they're just like, no, you didn't tell me. And now you're scratching your head and you're second guessing yourself, saying, maybe I didn't talk about that. And then they're sort of smiling, then smirking at you and doing all that. And what they're trying to do there is they're trying to get control over you, because now they know that now that they know you're going to apologize, now they know that they have control over you. Let's say that you made plans with this person. You made plans, you're about to, and let's say that you guys made plans to go out to eat somewhere. I don't know, wherever you eat. I don't know. You make plans to go out with them, and then out of nowhere, and you guys have made these plans for, let's say, a week, or maybe even, let's just say that you guys made these plans to go out somewhere. The same day you said, we're gonna go out to eat tonight, we're gonna get takeout. And then they say, okay, sounds great. And then, you're ready to go. And then that person, they say, oh, I'm not going to be able to come with you. Something came up. And then you're just like, oh, okay, can't that thing wait? We planned this to do this. And then they're like, no, it can't. And then you're just like, oh, okay. And then you do this another time, the same thing, same scenario. And then they do it again. And you're just like, wait, what's going on here? And then you're trying to figure out what is going on. I bet you know who I'm talking about, right? I bet you have seen and experienced some of these things that I'm mentioning. Let's talk about in the workplace, for example. Let's say that you just started a new job, for example. Let's say that this is a job that you've always wanted, that you worked hard to get. You know what I mean? You built a rapport with the boss, and everything is good. You got to know the boss, you got to know some of the people that work for the company, and you were excited to work for this company, right? And then let's say day one, you go into the office or wherever you're gonna go work, and then they say, and then you're introducing yourself. Things are going well so far. You get to know what your responsibilities are in that job, and everything's going well for you. And then out of nowhere, you get called into your boss's office, and then your boss is saying, okay, so I need you to do this work. I need you to do this person's work. I need you to do that person's work because the boss sees that you're such a good person at work. And then at first you're like, okay, well, I'm really good at my job. So, okay, fine. Why not? And then you start doing all these things, right? And then after a while, it becomes a bit much for you to handle. And then you start asking your boss, can you reduce my workload? And you say it nicely. You're not trying to say it to get out of working, or although that could be why, I don't know. But let's just say that you want to offload your work because it's becoming a little bit too much for you. And then your boss says, why? Why can't you handle all of this? You're really good at what you do. The other people in the company, they're not as good as you are. And then you're scratching your head saying, but boss, I can only do so much. That's what you're saying in your head. And then you actually say it, but boss, this is just a little bit too much for me to handle. And then your boss says, okay, I'll reduce your workload. And then before you know it, when your boss reduces this workload, what happens? The people around you, they start looking at you differently. They start treating you differently. They start getting together behind the water cooler and whispering and gossiping about you. And these people, everything was good before, right? But what you and things were good before, but now all of a sudden everything changed just like that, and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on here. I bet you've been there. I know you probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so you know who I'm talking about, right? And these are some of the things that the narcissist does. And narcissists, remember, they come in all different shapes and sizes. They do they play by the same playbook. Every narcissist does the same playbook. Their favorite tactic is gaslighting. I made a video on that. They smear campaign, they verbally abuse, they financially abuse. They do all these things. These are what narcissists do, right? And what you need to do now that you've established that, from maybe this is your first video you're watching, if it is, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you supporting the channel. And I hope that to see you on the next video. But what I'm talking about here is the fact that all narcissists do these things. They do it to different people differently because they're trying to get something out of every supply that we'll say for this video. They're trying to get something different from every supply they encounter. Maybe it's a supply of money. Maybe it's a supply of sex. Maybe it's a supply of just having another body with them, an arm candy, if you will, or something like that. Narcissists are all chasing somebody for something different. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just a person who's going to be the person that they dump all of their toxicity on, the person that they can just say whatever they want to, and that person will just take it all, right? But the reason why I called this video the realization slash do you know this person, is because you have to come to the realization that this is who the narcissist is. And remember, narcissists, they can be your parent, they can be your sibling, they can be your boss at work, which I just talked about for a minute. They can be your spouse, they can be your boyfriend or your girlfriend. They could be someone you just met at the store. They can be in church, right? These narcissists are everywhere. And remember what I said just now. They all do the exact same things, but they do it differently to different people. And so what you need to do, especially if you're in a relationship with them right now and you're just establishing from this video, from what I just said, that the person you're dealing with is a narcissist, well, great. I'm glad that you figured out that they're a narcissist. But what you need to do now is come to the realization that this is exactly who they are. And this person is not going to change. And they're not going to change for you, right? Because narcissists, they don't care about people. They only care about what they can take and what they can get from people, right? And then once they get what they want from people, they move on to someone else and do the exact same thing that they did to you, but they do it 10 times worse. And this is a misconception that people have about narcissists, is that the person that they're going off to, known as the new supply, the person that they cheated on you with, or the person that, they're just going to go off to, right? They think it's a misconception that people have that the narcissist is going to treat them better somehow. Well, the truth of the matter is that the narcissist is going to be 10 times worse to that person. Now, I will say this. It's going to seem at first that the narcissist is having a good time, that person and the narcissist, they just found the best thing since sliced bread. It could very well look like that. But what you have to understand, the realization you have to come to, is that not everything is as it appears to be. Not everybody is who they claim to be, right? People can claim to be one person, but what you need to do is you need to get to know them by what they show you, by their actions, right? If their actions are saying one thing and their words are saying something totally different, then you know that you are not dealing with somebody who is true and somebody who is honest. What you are dealing with is somebody who's a narcissist who's going to continue. Sorry, I have a little buzz on my hair. What you are dealing with is someone who's potentially a narcissist who's going to take everything from you. And you have to understand, also come to the realization that the narcissist is doing this to multiple people at the same time. Because I mentioned this in videos, I mentioned this on platforms and things like that, that the narcissists, they do this as a full-time job. They're doing it all the time. It's their life's work because it's all that they know. And chances are 99% of the time they came from a family of narcissists, right? Whether it was a parent, a narcissistic sibling, a narcissistic aunt, a narcissistic uncle, or a grandparent of some sort. Narcissists, they all do the same exact things. That's what you have. And the other realization you have to come to is that the longer that you stay with the narcissist, the more they're going to steal from you. They're going to steal your energy. They're going to steal your belief in humanity. They're going to steal your relationships from you. You might have had good friendships, and maybe you're realizing right now by watching my video that that friend that is such a good friend of yours is acting a little bit strange now. And you've known this friend for 20 years or 30 years or even for a lifetime. And all of a sudden now they're acting really, really strange. And you can't seem to figure out why that is. Well, I can tell you right now, the truth is that the narcissist, that narcissist you're dealing with, probably got in that friend's ear and started telling them things about you that aren't even true. Or maybe those things are true and you shared them with the narcissist and you confided in them and you said to the narcissist that, and you hope that they were going to keep your secret. Well, the truth is, and I'm going to tell you guys this, narcissists love secrets. Why? Because narcissists know that with secrets, what they can do is they can use them against you at a later date. Because narcissists, the reason why they use people's secrets and anything they can against other people is because it makes them feel strong. It makes them feel like they have control over those people. And remember what I said in my videos, narcissists thrive off of chaos, confusion, and control. They know that if they can cause chaos in multiple people's lives at any one time, then they know that now that they've caused the chaos, now they know that they've confused those people, because the chaos 99% of the time just came out of nowhere, out of left field, out of thin air, and they don't know where it came from, whether it was an intentional argument, whether it was the narcissist, starting a fight out of nowhere, whether it was the narcissist showing up late to something, that's really important when they said they were going to be there with you, right? And maybe they show up with somebody whom you don't even know, i.e. the new supplier or your replacement, the person that narcissist is cheating on you with. Narcissists do these things. You may think that some of the things I'm saying is far-fetched. You may think that, and you can think that all you want. But what I'm saying here is that what you need to come to the realization is that narcissists, they don't care about people. In fact, narcissists are the devil's handmaids, right? These are the devil's minions. They're working for the devil full time. And the devil, he hates human beings. He doesn't like human beings. He doesn't like anything that God created. Because the devil, he didn't create human beings, but he knows what makes us tick. He knows what makes us upset. He knows what makes us sad. And the devil, he plays off our vulnerabilities. And it's the same with the narcissist. The narcissist plays off your vulnerabilities because the narcissist, they watch you, but they're also studying you, right? To see what they can, what makes you tick so that they can use it against you. See, the difference between the narcissist and a normal person who maybe has some challenges and just toxic, or they're just a normal person, everyday person, is that normal people, they get to know you for getting to know you, to create a bond, to create a relationship with you of some sort. Whereas the narcissist, they get to know you to use it against you at a later date, right? They use it with you, and that's how many times they start intentional arguments, because they'll either bring up something from the past, or what they'll do is they'll bring up something that's important to you, and then they'll twist the narrative on that, and then it will start an intentional argument, and you won't know how you got there. And then you're going to be asking yourself, why did they bring this up now? That's what's always the question with narcissists when they start intentional arguments out of thin air, is why are they bringing this up now? And usually they start these intentional arguments when something good or something important is going to happen. Like, for example, whether you're about to graduate and you guys are headed to a graduation ceremony, whether you're about to be you guys are heading to church, and you're about to be doing some sort of presentation, or maybe you're a pastor and you're about to be preaching a sermon, and your spouse, out of thin air, they're bringing up something from 30 years ago, and you're trying to figure out, why are they bringing this up now? Well, they're bringing it up because they want to rile you up. They want to disturb your peace, because narcissists don't like peace. They're like the devil. The devil, he hates peace. He loves when people fight. He loves when people separate. He loves when people, are angry at each other. And that's what narcissists do. They get a thrill out of your pain, right? So you need to come to this realization, whether you're about to marry this person, right? Whether you're engaged to them right now and they're just starting arguments out of nowhere, or they're not showing up for you the way that they said that they were going to show up for you, or whether they just don't seem to care about you. It's just one-sided, like I talked about in my recent video. You need to come to the realization that they are not going to change. They won't get better. In fact, they are going to get 10 times worse, because that's what narcissists do. You have to understand that the person that the narcissist is who they are. And you need to accept that, because they don't change. And especially if they moved on to a new supply, and let's say that you are married to them, they just moved on to another person just like that, and they just got married to this person like next month. You're trying to figure out, what the hell just happened to me? What about me? What you need to understand is that the narcissist, they're going to do more damage to that person, because chances are, the reason why they moved on to that person is because they can't face the lies that they've done. They can't face all the things that they've done to you, let's say. They can't face the fact that they lied to you, that they cheated on you, that they financially abused you, they stole from you. They can't face all those things because they've done it to too many people before you, and it would be too painful for them to realize just how much damage they've done. In fact, it would probably kill them for them to have to, think back to all the things that they've done, right? So this is a realization that you have to come to. You have to realize that the narcissist is who they are. They are who they are. They're not going to change for anybody. They won't just say one day that, they found Jesus, that they found God. It's just not going to happen. You can wish it all you want. You can pray for them all you want. You can do all that all you want. But what you need to understand is that the narcissist is who they are, and that they are not going to get better, and that they hate people. They hate human beings. Right? That's why they need to destroy everything that is good about you. You may have been, when you got involved with them, maybe you were such a beautiful person, but now you're starting to see your beauty slowly slip away. Your beautiful qualities. Now you find yourself getting agitated at the smallest things. You find yourself, getting upset over things that don't mean anything. You find yourself, your energy drained. You find yourself tired more often. You find that the things that you love to do, maybe you love to paint, maybe you love to draw, maybe you love to watch movies, maybe you love to create movies. Maybe you were involved in the church. Maybe you were doing this and that, and you're finding that you're starting to slowly slip away from those things. Well, I can tell you one thing, that there's a narcissist in your life that's taking you away from those things, right? They're trying to take you away, because once they take you away and they get you to themselves, now they know that they can toy with you. Now they know that they have isolated you. Now they know that they've taken you away from everything that matters to you. That's why narcissists isolate people. They do it because they want to get you away from everything that from your support system. Maybe you had good friends, and maybe now you don't even see your friends anymore. Maybe they don't talk to you anymore because maybe they know the person you're dealing with is a toxic narcissistic person, and they know that if they say something to you, they could be the next target, right? And maybe they just don't want anything to do with it. Or maybe they're toxic themselves. Who knows? Maybe they could be also narcissistic. But what I'm saying, guys, is that you need to come to the realization and what I talked about in the video as well, that you actually know who this person is. You need to come to the realization that that's who they are. Right? It's a realization. It's a hard realization because I know that you put so much into the relationship. Maybe it was a relationship with your family, your parents and your siblings and all of them. You were always there for them and you did everything for them. And it pains you. It hurts you to know that you're going to have to cut ties with them eventually. It's sad, I know, because I was once there and I had to go no contact with my family. It's hard. It really is hard. It's devastating. And I've had to go through that myself. But what I had to realize I had to ask myself, what means more? My peace or somebody trying to destroy my life every single day? I had to ask myself those questions. And I said, no, my peace matters. I matter because I'm a human being. I was created in the image of God. Right? And these are things that you also have to accept as well, right? That you do mean something, that you are important, right? So you have to understand that it's something you have to realize, that you have to accept people for who they are and not for how you want to see them. You want to see them as somebody who's going to change. You're second guessing yourself for them, saying that maybe they're just having a tough day. Maybe they did have a rough life. Maybe life isn't, maybe people weren't good to them. Maybe they did have it unlucky. Maybe all those things are true. Maybe that's the truth. Maybe they didn't have a good life, but that doesn't mean that it gives them a reason to be disrespectful to you. It gives them a reason to not have some common decency. Human decency, where they treat people with that they actually matter, right? So what you need to understand is that this is just who people are, right? And you just have to come to accept that. It's a realization, all right? Yeah, guys, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about in this video. Thank you so much for joining me here today again on Narcissism 101, Cracking the Code with me, Paul Wisdom. Like I said, if you want a one-on-one session, please email me at paul.wisdom_03@hotmail.com, or you can send a text message to 647-406-3057. Again, if you want to call, just send a text before and just let me know that you want to call and talk about your narcissistic experience, and then we can get you the help that you need. We can get you set up, and then we can move you on to getting you everything that you need. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you so much.